traffic jam. I'm Sam, and I'm a street photographer in New York City. I'm from Connecticut. I was born and raised there, and I actually still live there. I come into New York pretty much every chance I get, hopefully a few times a month on average. It is a little bit different rather than being based in the city. A little different experience traveling here to shoot, but I think it's all worth it. I try to make it a few times a month. That varies, depending on the season and my work schedule because I don't do this full time, but I do try to make it down here as much as I possibly can because I love it. Full time I'm in marketing, so along the same lines I would love to do photography full time, but we're not at that stage yet. So I've been shooting for about 10 years street for probably 4 or 5 now. My dad's always done photography as a hobby. He gave me my first camera, which was a Canon 20D. And from there, I just kind of upgraded slowly and surely. I got a Rebel T2i up to an 80D, and then I switched to Sony recently. My dad's always done photography as a hobby, and we always used to come to New York when I was a child. I really love New York, and when I had a camera in my hand, it kind of gave me a purpose and a reason to come to New York. So I've been doing it ever since, just for the love of both making photographs and the city itself. I like the bikes lined up over there.
Yeah, I know.
If we can make our way over there, maybe. Yeah. Thank you. That's the great thing about like parades and events. You can get right up next to people. Yeah. They don't even realize you're shooting them, So I've been shooting for 10 years or so, and I've dabbled in portraits and wildlife and landscape, but nothing really stood out to me or interested me like street photography does. I think there's a few different reasons to that. One being that you never know what you're gonna see. It's always a surprise, and you go out one morning, you don't even want to shoot, but you can end up taking your favorite photo ever that day. The second being that it's hard to replicate, nearly impossible. My style, I try to capture things that are fleeting, that aren't permanent, so it's not easy to duplicate. Yeah, so I have tons of inspirations. I've always loved film. I wanted to be a film director when I was younger, so movies have always played a big role in my vision. Other photographers on Instagram, through photo books, most notably people like Alex Webb, Joe Meyerowitz, Greg Girard. But I really like to diversify the people I study, the things I look at, to give me the most resources to make my own vision. I'm sure my process of making photos is different than other people, especially street photographers in New York. Being that I am from Connecticut, I do have to go through the process of getting on the train, getting off at Grand Central, figuring out where I want to go that day. And I usually don't know where I want to go that day, so I get off the train and I kind of just wander until I find some sort of direction, some sort of light that guides me. I'm always looking for interesting characters and interesting scenes, so I'll usually walk around if I come for the day. As long as my feet will let me, I'll do 15, 20, 25 miles in a day. I'm pretty impatient too, so when I get home, I'll import almost immediately, and I'll usually flag a few of my favorites, let them sit for maybe a few days or a week, and then go back and get into the editing, which is minimal color grading and post-processing. I don't want to distort the image out of reality or whatever it is. I wish I could stay in one spot longer, but I probably stay at one spot max 10 minutes. I gotta keep moving. Otherwise, I feel like I'm missing everything. Thank you. There we go. Yes, sir. Whatever he said. Nope. USA. Like dinosaur. Yeah, if there was one place I could photograph for the rest of my life besides New York, it would have to be Tokyo, probably. I've never been there, but it is on the top of my bucket list. It seems, you know, pretty similar in terms of energy to New York, and the pictures I've seen from there just put it right at the top of my list. So I'd have to say Tokyo or somewhere in Japan if I had to shoot for the rest of my life somewhere. That's gonna be on the left, and I need someone on the right side.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It was awesome. And I think I still have it.
I don't necessarily have a favorite photo. I would usually say my favorite is the last photo I took, but I do have a few that stand out to me. Starting with this one. It's not the most interesting photo, but I do like the layering in it and the colors. The lady in front wearing the bright red, contrasting with the yellow of the taxi, contrasting with the backdrop of the green. Everything is juxtaposed and spaced nicely. So this shot was actually the first photo I ever remember taking. This was probably 8-10 years ago in Chinatown. And I really like it because the subject, the woman, is pretty anonymous, but you can see defining features such as her lips, her nose, her hands, and that's all framed in the reflection of the signs and the shop in Chinatown. So this was a recent shot. I like how the X's of the scaffolding frame the construction worker in the back. Again, about the motion, the crane picking up the barrels, and the anonymous subject passing through in the foreground lends itself to being one of my more favorite shots from this past year.